Good evening, people. Welcome back to my channel. I am UndeadSick83, your governor of movie reviews. And since it's Thursday and I have the weekend right now, I have the weekend off. It's weekend, there you go. So, since it's the weekend, it's time to do another movie review. And today I'm going to talk about the latest MCU film, Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So sit back and enjoy. And to all of you who are also having weekend right now, cheers or slanche, as we say it here. So, and I hope you will enjoy this discussion and review. All right. So yes. The day is upon us. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is released in theater. As a matter of fact, I just got back from watching it. Really, I think I'm like at home for like 5 minutes now. So I got back like right now from watching it. I just saw it, so my thoughts are all fresh. And I can't wait to dive into this whole thing with you. So, alright. So, let me start with a little background here. Let me start by saying this. Personally, I felt like Phase 4 of the MCU, the new phase, the new stage, was off to a rocky start. I thought it was off to a rocky start. You know, Black Widow was a mediocre film that should have been released 5 years ago. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. You know, I don't like comedy in my martial arts films, so you know that movie wasn't really for me. I just thought it wasn't serious enough. So there was that. Actually, I actually liked Eternals a lot, but that movie is not for everyone. It's very divisive. And then, of course, we had Spider-Man No Way Home, which is a fantastic film. It's the best Spider-Man movie I have ever seen. So that's a great win. You know, Spider-Man No Way Home was a great win. And then this was announced. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It was going to be directed by Sam Raimi, which was great, with music from Danny Elfman. And this was going to continue the story set up in, WandaVision and Spider-Man No Way Home. So, alright. So, I was very excited about this film because I expected a lot of things in this. And some of them were paid off, some of them weren't. And we're going to go into those. But first, let me start with the basics. Let me talk a little bit about the story here, okay? So, let me start by, telling a little bit about the story here, okay? And I'll try to be as spoiler-free as possible, okay? So basically the story is this, with this film. After the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange has nightmares about the multiverse. He is having these very livid and very creepy, frightening, nightmarish dreams about the multiverse. He sees himself with a girl that he is trying to save from some demons and monsters. It's all pretty, pretty creepy and gnarly. So anyway, he has all these dreams, and basically what happens next is he meets this young girl named America Chavez, And basically he meets her in the midst of basically an interdimensional portal opening up, and there is this huge creature, sort of a large octopus-like creature coming out of a portal basically, and wrecking havoc like all across the city, chasing this little girl. And after he saves this girl with some help from Wong, who is also in this film, basically they find out that both the girl and the monster are actually from the multiverse. So in order to try and understand this multiverse, the threat of the multiverse, and looking for ways to, close the portals and shut it off for good, shut off any access to the multiverse, he goes and turns to Wanda Maximoff, who is now living on a farm on her own, planting, taking care of trees and planting crops and stuff. And basically, Doctor Strange is asking her to help him with this problem of the multiverse. But of course, Wanda, still being very obsessed with her children and, the grief that she has suffered, Wanda agrees to help him, but she might have more sinister plans for the multiverse that we might or might not find out about. I'll leave that up in the air. Wanda might have ulterior motives. That's all I'm saying. And that's basically how the movie starts. And what follows is a completely bonkers film that, that has everything that you could expect from a Sam Raimi film. So let me get the negatives out of the way first, okay? Because I have some issues with this film, okay? I have some issues with this film. So let me get the negative stuff out of the way first, all right? All right. So the first thing that I want to say about this film is that sometimes this movie feels a little rushed in certain areas. In certain areas, it feels a little rushed. I'm not gonna lie, that's how I felt. I felt like there were some scenes, especially in terms of character development, that could have been stretched out a little more. I think if they would allow that to simmer for like a couple more minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, the scenes would have worked much better, in my opinion. So, and I felt this especially with the character development scenes. I really felt like sometimes they were like, we have to get this stuff out of the way because we need to get back to the bonkers action, and the insane special effects. So that's my one negative. This movie feels quite rushed in certain areas, and that's a bit of a downer because it's pulling me out of the film. So that's one issue I have with it. The second issue is a more personal one. This is a more personal feeling for me, okay? And it's about the ending of the film. The ending of this film. Now, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm not gonna tell you what happens or what doesn't happen or whatever. I will just say this. The ending of this movie leaves out a very important part from a certain comic book that I think was really needed in here, or at least I really wanted that particular thing in this film, and it wasn't. And it's a very strange choice, because the scene that I am talking about was designed to set up a very important big thing in the MCU that is coming in the future. And I felt like that this was the movie to have that scene. It's a very important scene. It has huge ramifications for the MCU going forward. For the people who have read the comics, you know what I'm talking about. So this scene would have been huge. And I felt like that this was the moment to introduce that scene into the MCU. But they didn't do it. They decided that they decided that they weren't going to have it in this film. And, you know, it's fine. I just, this is my personal feeling. From a personal feeling, I really feel like that this would have been the moment to have that scene. And not having it in this film feels a little bit lackluster to me, in a certain way. So I don't know. I just felt like that was kind of, you know, I felt like that was a bit of a bummer. So that's my second issue with this film. So those are the two issues I have with this movie, The Multiverse of Madness. But apart from that, this is a fantastic film. I absolutely loved this one. I love this one. All right, let's dive into all of the good stuff. All right. First of all, I want to talk about the star of the film. The star of the film is Elizabeth Olsen. She is phenomenal in this film. Her story arc as WandaVision and Scarlet Witch, her whole story arc comes to this huge crescendo in this film. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you whether this is like the last crescendo or maybe not. I'm not going to tell you if this is the ending of Wanda's story or not. I'm not going to tell you that. I'll leave that up for you to see. You have to see it. But bringing her story, you know, almost sort of full circle in a way. That's all I will say about it. Bringing Wanda and Scarlet Witch's story kind of full circle makes a lot of sense, and it really, really worked very well. And it's all to do with the powerhouse performance by Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen is fantastic in this film. You know, I want to applaud her. Elizabeth Olsen, you were fantastic. The story of this film has huge emotional weight. It gives you a lot of gut punches. You are in turmoil for the entire film. You feel very conflicted in a lot of scenes. You feel very conflicted. Like I said, it has huge dramatic scales. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. There are some really great cameos in this one. There are some great little Easter eggs for comic book fans, and there are some really, really great cameo scenes. There are some really great cameo scenes in this one. And I'm not gonna say anything. I'll just say this. When those cameo scenes came about, I'm not gonna lie to you, it got stiff. It got stiff. It was so good. And it's setting up two very important things that we might see later on in the MCU. The cameos, they set up like two quite important things that are probably going to be a part of the story later on in the MCU. And I thought that was great. Sam Raimi goes all out with this one. He fills the movie with weird creatures, nightmarish visions, other really weird and creepy other dimensions, post-apocalyptic stuff, and also some really, like I said, the horror. He adds some horror elements into this one. One scene in particular, he adds some horror elements in this one. So yeah, Sam Raimi did a fantastic job. The music by Danny Elfman is great as ever. It is really fantastic. What else can I say about this film? It could have this ties into the movie feeling a bit rushed in certain areas. It could have been 5 or 10 minutes longer, maybe. But apart from that, I thought this was a really cool film. Really bonkers. This movie throws everything it can at the screen, and it's quite amazing. Actually, it's quite amazing. So how do where is this going to weigh into future MCU films? How is this going to feature into future MCU properties? First of all, I think that Doctor Strange, the story of Doctor Strange, is going to change dramatically in the MCU moving forward. I really feel so. I think this movie changed Doctor Strange in a lot of ways, both positive and negatively. So I feel that. Again, it's setting up some set pieces for the MCU going forward in terms of story, but also in terms of cameos. So that's very interesting. As for the multiverse itself, to be honest, I think we are pretty much done with the multiverse at this point. I think, we've had 2 movies about that. We've had 1 miniseries setting it up. I think the multiverse is pretty much done at this point. I think we can move on to other things now. And, there are a lot more interesting storylines that they can do. But I think this should be the closing chapter of the multiverse. Because it feels like a perfect ending to this whole arc. And so I hope they will leave it. At this. What else can I say? Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic as well. I liked him more in this film than in the first one, because in this film we get to see a more unbalanced Doctor Strange. We get to see a more fractured and fragile Doctor Strange, which was very interesting. You know, diving into the character's, you know, psyche and, you know, how he lives with certain things, you know, regrets and hopes and stuff like that, dreams, all of that stuff. It's much more of a character study of Doctor Strange as well, which I also thought was really, really cool. So, yeah, what else can I say about this? It introduces a great new character in America Chavez, of course, who I think is going to be very big in the MCU as well in the future. So, yeah, what else can I say about this film? I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to talk about. So, in closing. All right. So, in closing, how do I feel about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? I really think that this is another one for the win. I really think so. I really think this is another one for the win. You know, like I said, after a bit of a rocky start, I feel like the MCU is finally finding its new footing. You know, it's finally finding its ground to stand on. And, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home basically made that whole playing field. And, you know, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is just added on top of that. And I think this is another one. It's another one for the win, really. I think so. I really, really loved this film. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was everything I wanted it to be. With the exception of one scene. But it was everything I wanted it to be. This is why I'm a comic book fan and a superhero fan. And I really, really loved it. And I hope future MCU films will keep this quality. Because we really, really need that. So yeah, there you have it. That's my review and discussion about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. My rating for this film, I'm going to give Multiverse of Madness 3.5 stars out of 5. That's my rating for this film. 3.5 stars out of 5. I thought it was a very good film. So, there you have it. But let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think? Have you seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? If you did see it, did you love it as much as me? Or did you hate it? If you did hate it, tell me why, we can discuss and debate. Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree? Again, if you disagree, tell me why, we can discuss and debate. Do you have any TV shows or movies that you want to recommend to me for me to watch and review? All of that, let me know in the comment section down below. I want to know your thoughts, opinions, theories, ideas, as always. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video as soon as possible, of course. And for those who are tuning in tomorrow, I'll see you when I do the live stream. Because tomorrow we are going to have a live stream. And it's not going to be physical media. It's just going to be chatting to you guys. Okay? So, no physical media. Just, chatting to you guys. You can leave questions, leave comments, anything you want. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I will be back with more videos as soon as possible. I promise. Anyway, stay safe and healthy as always. Have a good weekend. And I see you guys. Bye.